obviously Liverpool fans would love Jurgen Klopp to stay, right? I mean, if he could stay here for 20 years, they'll take that. If he does walk, and look, we've seen it in the past with other jobs that he's taken. If he does walk, there has been some talk about Steven Gerrard coming in. Now, it's funny, we say that name now and Liverpool fans might say no chance. A couple of years ago, it was the man to replace Jurgen Klopp. If you could take Steven Gerrard on an interim basis, at least until the end of the season, if Jurgen Klopp walks, would you?
I don't think that works for the club or Steven Gerrard. I think, listen, in a dream ideal world, he gets the job when he's earned the right to get that job. It's not just because he's called Steven Gerrard. It's not just because his face is all over this stadium, as it should be. The best player I've ever seen play for Liverpool. But as a manager now, we're looking at a completely different prospect to what we saw 2 years ago at Rangers. You know, he's come to the Premier League with Villa, hasn't worked out. He's out of work now. We're maybe hearing he might have got the Poland job a few weeks ago. What a crazy story that was. I'm hearing him and Gary Mack are looking at the Leeds job. Listen, there's another Liverpool legend that I think maybe in a couple of years would potentially be more well suited to this job, and that's XABI Alonso. Have we seen what he's doing at Leverkusen? He's really pulling up trees there. So in terms of the name, Steven Gerrard will always be linked with Liverpool for whatever reason. However, he's not the man in an interim or a full-time job to come in and take over from Jurgen Klopp in 6 weeks, a year, 2 years, 3 years. Unless he does something very exceptional in the next 2 years with a very exceptional club, I don't think he's earned the right to manage Liverpool at this stage. I mean, if you look at past Liverpool managers, hasn't worked out when we've gone with the empathy route, right? We've employed Graeme Souness in 92, who was sacked by 95. Didn't work out. Roy Evans comes in with Gerard Houllier, and then you get the Benitez's, the Brendans. These are people that weren't really known as football players. And I've seen so many examples of football players going into jobs and it hasn't worked. You look at Frank Lampard as well. The one that I would say that stands out for me, again, not saying that Klopp needs to go, wants to go. If we could get him to sign a 10-year deal right now, I'd get him to sign that. I think it's pretty evident to say that this is maybe the biggest fall-off of any English team that we've seen in the last 20 years. To go 65 games in a season, which hasn't happened before for any team in England to play that many games, not only in a season but a calendar year. It was obviously so taxing mentally and physically, but add in the injuries, add in the massive drop off in form, the quality, the lack of goals. There isn't really one player that I can name you that stands out in a positive light for Liverpool this season. Add in Luchito Diaz. We've missed him so badly since that horrible injury he got at Arsenal in October. Jota may be back on the bench tonight. Massive plus for Liverpool. That loves a little derby game as well. Nunes needs to start firing. Cody Gakpo, they're calling him the new James Bond. 0 goals, 0 assists in 7 games, which isn't what we want to hear. 007. So all these guys are going to they've got no choice, Adi. They have to pick it up now. They have to start scoring goals. They have to get this fan base back on their side. Not that they're not, but on a Merseyside derby, a Monday night, the Kop has to be bouncing tonight to maybe, again, a bit of a reset going into this really important period. But Everton, like you said, have won here twice in the last 25 years. So it's going to be tough for them, but they've almost got nothing to lose in this game because of what they did last week. They're not necessarily supposed to win at Anfield in the derby.